Behind me every single time you turn on to these podcasts, and I'm here in Grandma's garage. The one right behind me of Stranger Things is very powerful if you look at the details. Now, if you've seen the series Stranger Things, it's one of my all-time favorites, and it's based off of a lot of MK Ultra and paranormal metaphysical stuff the military did, alphabet agencies, and contractors connected with them. Season 2 is just as good as Season 1. I've already binge-watched like 5 episodes. You can watch it on Netflix. It's definitely worth watching the series because it's so powerful. Here's what I find fascinating. They bring in, by doing all these experiments with children, they bring in these demonic entities that have lots of power and abilities and knowledge. Now, these children that they literally do horrible experiments on, they find ways to manipulate their minds and give them more abilities than most people have via thought, like being able to move things with their mind, change people's minds with their minds, etc. And when they do these powers, one thing that you notice when they use their powers, they'll always get a bloody nose. And that reminds me of the film Firestarter that Drew Barrymore was in the early 80s. The hair's standing up on my whole body just thinking about this. Even places I don't have hair, it's starting to grow. Hello! Wow. The same thing happened in the film over 30 years ago when Drew Barrymore and her father were running from these alphabet agency sociopaths that wanted to continue to use their powers, and they wanted to take them out afterwards. Like, wipe them out. Get rid of them. So they're on the run. They're doing their best to protect themselves. And every time Drew Barrymore, the Firestarter, uses her powers, she gets a bloody nose. Every time her father uses his powers to control people's minds, he would get a runny nose as well. And it's interesting because the movie, the program, it's in this like very nice estate, a lot of the experiments and such that they do. And I need to go back and watch that film because it's been a lot of years, but I remember growing up to that movie and watching it so many times as a little kid. What in the hell, literally, did these guys bring in by doing these weird MK Ultra experiments, bringing in demonic entities linked with buildings and structures and facilities? No wonder the world is the way that it is. Now, I'm going to take this even a step further. I think that when the powers that be, the shadow factions, the real deep ops guys doing crazy experimental stuff way above top secret, I feel that they pulled in something many years ago. They amplified it in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. And 2001, I feel that they brought something really dark and extremely powerful in with those rituals that they did. September 11th, 2001, the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, Flight 93, look up the significance to number 93. And I feel that they might have brought something in that they can't control. There literally could be entities like intergalactic demons sucking on the life force of this planet and people in it right now. And I also think about an interview that I did with Alexander a couple weeks ago when he talked about how some of these entities in the Kabbalah, like Metatron as an example, I said, could Metatron be the moon? And he laughed at me. And then I gave him my reasoning to that. But you know what? I see his mindset now. And I see why he laughed at me, actually, because I think that some of these entities that are talked about in the Bible and in some of these ancient scriptures, like Metatron as an example, as Enoch goes up into heaven and becomes Metatron, this huge, huge entity. That's why I say it could be the moon, but it's described as even bigger than the moon. Imagine things in different dimensions that you don't see with the physical eyes. Imagine the size and the mass of some of these entities. that we just don't pick up because our physical eyes aren't designed and tuned in with the frequencies that we have unless we exercise our third eye and different parts of our mind. We're not going to see stuff like that. So imagine in the netherworld or in the underworld or the other side, one of the other sides, one of the many sides, literally just a few degrees away via tuning, with entities that literally orchestrate and manipulate this physical domain, this low vibrational domain that we're in right now. And what if by doing these experiments with children, and who knows what else, it tapped into these things, it found a way to open something, maybe the Babylonian workings that Crowley and Parsons and Hubbard were a part of. There was two separate Babylon workings, I think. There was one in the early 1900s, or the 1918 approximate time frame, maybe 1913, and then there was another set of exercises and occult practices and rituals that were performed with Parsons later on. I don't remember the exact dates, but this stuff is recorded. Matter of fact, well, let me look it up real quick while you guys are here, just to get the dates. Babylonian workings. The Babylon working, 1946, rituals performed from January to March 1946. Pioneer rocket fuel scientist, the rocket man himself, Jack Parsons, the original rocket man, L. Ron Hubbard. Their project was based on the ideas of Aleister Crowley scribes, the rituals that took place, the project in 1917. So that's what the Babylon working is. It is a continuation of the work of Crowley from 1917. I was pretty close. I think I said 1918 and then 1913. Now the Babylon working rituals was to bring in, through sexual magic, the Scarlet Woman. Wow. I mean, maybe that's why we're in this perpetual state of war. Maybe that's why giant corporations profit off of using aborted baby cells for flavor enhancers. Maybe that's why 5G towers are going to be popping up all over residential areas, commercial areas, industrial areas, emitting high-powered electromagnetic frequencies up to the 20 billion gigahertz range. I mean, this is just crazy, folks. So we are at 7.83 hertz, approximately. Times that by 20 billion. Times that by 4 billion. Then you're getting into these frequencies that are being emitted by some of these 5G emitters. And you still got 4G, 3G, everything else G. Pick yourself a cheap EMF for $30 and you can see some of the lower frequency bands, how powerful they are in areas that they shouldn't be, and how much energy they're emitting. It's just unbelievable. If we are in some type of war right now, where demonic forces, giant, powerful, intergalactic, interstellar, literally interdimensional entities of extreme powers, that the powers that be promise, okay, we'll make a deal with these guys just to see what can happen. I doubt they realize the consequences. I doubt they realized the consequences when this happened. So maybe they did. Maybe they wanted this to happen. Maybe they were possessed to make this happen. It reminds me, I am going to just do a quick spoiler, a little spoiler. Season 2, Stranger Things. When Will is the kid that gets taken by this force in the first season, and he hides from this entity, and he makes it out alive, just barely alive, back to this side. He went to the other side, he comes back to this side, he's still alive. Well, in season 2, this entity, this shadow entity that is just huge and powerful, it found a way to put a spore in him. So when he made it back to this side, he pukes it out on the last episode, and then this thing takes off. He was basically a part of this. This thing is spawning from the other side into this world. And it finds a way to possess his body physically because it can't interact with this side because of the dimensional differences. So it finds a way to possess him, and he sees through it and he feels through it, so he knows stuff that he just shouldn't know. It's because this energy is inside of him. Imagine all these times throughout history where people claim to have been possessed by something or someone, and they knew things that they just shouldn't know. You ever wonder how many different entities are latched onto people and they don't even realize it? You guys should definitely check out Comic-Con if you get a chance. This is the last day out here in San Antonio if you have an opportunity. There is a ton of cool artwork there by different people. My favorite artist is Brady Shalley. She's the one that does the work behind me here. You can see this one, this Stranger Things. This is fan art, Stranger Things, that she did. I don't remember what the size of the canvas is. I think it's like 3x4. I think it's a 36 by 48 inch canvas. So if you are interested in some artwork, like amazing artwork, Brady had to spend a lot of money to set up that booth out there. So she is offering some really good deals right now. If you can't make it to the Comic-Con today and you're interested in some custom art, she does so much different. She has so many different styles. She can do something very modern. She can do something that looks like a Marvel superhero. I mean, she can do Geiger stuff, H.R. Geiger. So she's very talented. You can see behind me, she did all of this. And I'm going to start turning this, I'm going to do this Leak Project custom painting. I'm going to turn that into some posters, some autographed posters, some really nice ones. And then the Trump, you guys like the Trump painting? I'm going to turn that into some posters. But I'm not going to turn this Stranger Things painting into posters. So this is, this is a one of a kind from Brady. And if you're interested in this work, I am going to sell this to the highest bidder for funding for Leak Project and to help Brady out. So send me an email, leakproject@gmail.com, if you're interested in having a kick butt Stranger Things painting, fan art, or if you'd like something custom done and you can't make it to this Comic-Con, definitely send Brady a text. I'll leave her number in the video description box. You can send her a text, tell her what you're interested in, let her know that Leak Project sent you, and she will give you a smoking deal. That's my shameless plug. It's always nice to have cool art. Be excellent to each other. Imagine what these things will be.